always been fascinating about the Mission Impossible franchise is that it's never been concerned with continuity or its cinematic universe. It's only really ever served as an excuse for Tom Cruise to work with whatever director he wanted to work with at the time, and of course put his body on the line for death-defying stunts. That also meant that every film felt unique, for better or for worse in some cases. Say what you will about Mission Impossible 2, you can find it as cheesy as you want with all the slow motion and the doves and the opera music, but it is unmistakably a John Woo film. Same goes for Mission Impossible 1, which is about as De Palma movies get, even though it's almost impossible to follow in terms of plot. And MI3 is essentially a big-budget version of Alias, with the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman as one of the most iconic bad guys in the entire franchise's history. And then came Ghost Protocol, which basically relaunched Tom Cruise's career at a time when he had become the internet's greatest meme lord. Ushered him into a new age where he's no longer Tom Cruise the actor or Tom Cruise the star, but Tom Cruise the entertainer, a purveyor of big-budget, A-level, high-quality entertainment, a modern-day Buster Keaton who puts his life on the line for pure spectacle. Fallout is the 6th film in the franchise, but it also marks the first time that the movie is a direct sequel to the one preceding it, Rogue Nation. It also happens to be the first time that the previous director is coming back to direct the film a second time, in this case Christopher McQuarrie. And that sort of worried me very much. A, because I'm sick and tired of every film having to be interconnected with another, and B, because these films always work with the same formula. Tom Cruise is after something. Somebody betrays Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise runs a lot. Tom Cruise has to go rogue. Tom Cruise and his teammates create an elaborate heist-type scenario, where inevitably something goes wrong. Tom Cruise runs more. Then there's a chase scene. Tom Cruise keeps running, and essentially you get the picture. But the whole joy came from having all these different directors come in and put their own stamp on that formula, and having all of the action and the stunts feel real and as practical as possible. So were my fears validated? Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it's true that because of the fact that Christopher McQuarrie is coming back, and because it is a direct sequel to Rogue Nation, the film has lost a certain sense of uniqueness, a certain originality that is present in all the other films in the franchise. But in terms of taking this film within a vacuum and just judging it based on its pure merits, oh my god, is Mission Impossible Fallout A-level, top-notch, big-budget filmmaking. The set pieces are grandiose. They have that tactile, real feeling that you come to expect from this franchise, to the point that when there's visible CGI on screen, it feels extremely out of place. I'm thinking specifically of the helicopter crash sequence, which seems to lack weight. Such is your eye attuned to expecting everything to look real. The sense of space in the action scenes is some of the best that you'll see all year. There's a Spielbergian level of understanding in terms of choreography and in terms of spatial awareness within those action set pieces. Just to give a good example, if you take the Paris chase and you map out where they start to where they end up, and you look at where they go along the way, it actually makes geographical sense, with, of course, some cuts in there, but it works. Now that probably doesn't really mean anything, and that's probably not all that important, but for somebody who knows the city, it is nice to see that they respected the geography of the Paris area. But I think it also shows how much importance Christopher McQuarrie gave to that geographical awareness. I think he wants action set pieces to be as readable as possible for the audience. The fluidity with which the movie transitions from one action scene to another is quite breathtaking, and possibly the best I've seen since something like Mad Max Fury Road. Now, the film obviously isn't one continuous action set piece like that film was, but there are chunks of it where it starts in one place and ends in the other, and it gives off that feeling of one continuous, long, seamless sequence, I was almost reminded of something like video games where you don't have levels that are separated in by a menu screen, but you'll have one section that moves into another where loading spaces are, for example, hidden. And there really was that seamless flow from one section to another in large chunks of the film that made everything gel together beautifully. And then, of course, there's the stunts. It's hard not to feel pure joy at watching Tom Cruise jump out of an airplane and do a halo jump for real, or hijack a helicopter mid-flight and then take that helicopter and use it to ram the other helicopter because it's the only weapon that he has. In one of the last scenes, Michelle Monaghan pops up and says to Ethan Hunt that he is the hero the world needs, that thank God he's out there. In this age where you can't trust your country, your government, your intelligence agencies, you can't even trust Superman, it's reassuring to think that there is a hero out there with a very strict moral compass. Somebody who's not the biggest and not the strongest, but can improvise his way through every situation and throw his body on the line with pure, classic Jimmy Stewart-esque aw shucks sincerity and bravado. In an era where gadgets and technology rule the world, and IMF use a lot of them, there is something very beautiful and reassuring about somebody who gets by on pure human relentlessness and drive and hope. Because Ethan Hunt is essentially Tom Cruise, their two personas have melded into one a long time ago. What Moynihan and the film as a whole seems to point out is that thank God there's somebody out there making these movies, making these tactile, real, incredible blockbusters. The moral of the story, and it's hard to disagree, is thank God for Tom Cruise.
I knew I broke it instantly.
So you're down. Now anyone else will go, well, that's over. No. Up he gets, and he's running.
So, as always, thank you very much for watching the video. Be sure to hit the like button if you liked the video. And, yeah, subscribe if you're new to keep up to date on all these review shenanigans. There will be a lot more Fantasia reviews in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. And thanks very much, and see you soon.